Hello guys, welcome to my lab. In this video I wanted to show you HTTP client written on Commodore 64 which performs GET query to API endpoint and retrieves JSON object back. I will test it with API endpoint which retrieves high scores for a side project I'm currently working on, a game called Commodore X. I wrote it in October 2016, but at the time I felt that I wanted to go one step further and add an online high scores feature on top of it. The game is currently in beta stage. Today, I wanted to talk about the HTTP client using HTTP Load 2, as well as a JSON Parser library I wrote, as they were known for Commodore 64. I hope this piece of software is going to be useful and inspiring for you. Enjoy! I think it's cool to show you some more details. I will start from the backend. What you see is an API controller, fully written in PHP language with very lightweight Slim framework. Let's move to the bottom. You can see get method here, which retrieves top 10 score results. It's a very simple project, but for fun I followed domain-driven design principles by introducing in-memory repository where I have tested the whole logic first. Then I added doctrine to ORM to map table structure into entities. This is a concrete doctrine implementation of repository for scores, which implements the common interface. You can see query builder, which, as the name says, builds MySQL query. The query gets top 10 scores and joins active player entities. Let's see the database structure for score tables. Here you go, 3 records. The highest one is for 5,235 points for player with ID number 1. Cool. I'm going to execute this GET query in Postman first. This is the URL. Sending. Voila! I've got the response with these 3 records. As you see, the highest score is the first one, and it's for Gribbly, whoever he is. Now let's move on. I'm going to show you HTTP client on the real thing. Of course, Commodore 64 needs Ethernet card to connect with the world. You can see the 64 NIC Plus cartridge, but from Retro Innovations. It works in RRNet compatible mode now. I'm loading contents of my disk. List. HTTP client is here. 41 blocks, which is 10 kilobytes. That's all you need to retrieve data over HTTP. I think it's impressive. I will load it now. HTTP client uses HTTP load to library written in 2004 by Doug Bacardi from demo scene group called The Dreams. It's a really good one, and it's used not only in HTTP load 2 but also in Singular browser. Okay, showtime. Run. You can see IP configuration. Let's make a query by hitting spacebar. Fantastic. You can see JSON response below and all 3 records printed out on the screen, one after another. Exactly the same. Now I will change one record in database just to show you that it's a real response, not a fixed one. I will put 264 for player with ID number 2. I think it was for Jayana. Spacebar. In few seconds will show us the new results. Yes, as you see, Jana has 264 points now. Great. I have written JSON Parser which walks through data from the response and puts it into defined memory locations. I will talk about it in a few seconds. HTTP client is very lightweight, as the most of the hard job is done by the HTTP load to library. This is source written in 64 tasks cross-assembler. That's it. On the includes list, you can see HTTP load to library files here. This is my add-on for post method support, and 6502 JSON Parser library to parse response data. It's very simple how it works. I will show you now. It's here. First of all, I'm setting stream mode, as parsing will continue until HTTP library will find the last byte of the response. I'm enabling automatic conversion to PESC, as I want to display this data immediately on the screen. Players on the left, scores on the right. Now, when player or value key will be found, parser will jump to the subroutine, which will perform further actions. Set value, for example, will store value in values table and move pointer, so the next entry will be saved 40 characters below. Then, if object scanning is completed, parser will continue searching for the next object in array until the last element. Simple as it is. Note that all methods with a trailing hash signs stand for macros, which simplifies usage of JSON Parser library a lot. 6502 JSON Parser library can be found in the repository, and with installation script, installation of this library into projects is very simple. You will find some examples and all information in the README. Library contains unit tests to ensure that it's reliable. For that, I've used 64 unit test framework, which I've written a few months ago. It helped me a lot to find dysfunctions, some errors, define edge cases, and do optimization without worrying that something will break. Just to give you some idea how this JSON library was tested, I will show you some random tests. Let me see. Okay, it's here. In tests folder of JSON Parser, there are two suites. One for data retrieved from stream into buffer, and another one for data fully set in memory. Test multiple keys is the one which tests a variety of different objects. You can see assertions, which compares results of parsing with expected values. C64 unit test framework also uses macros, so writing all that bunch of assertions is very easy and straightforward. And the best thing is that it's available not only for 64 task cross-assembler, but also for others. Working code example for HTTP client is available in this repository. I hope you will find it useful for your projects, especially as it contains the missing post method. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it work on the Vice emulator, which is probably to do with HTTP load to library. However, it works on the real hardware, and that's what matters. Thanks for watching.